Now I move on to Sri Balendu Sharma Dadhich and request him to deliver a talk on dyslexia, how technology can help. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me to attend this very important webinar on dyslexia. The Vice Chairman, AICTE, Professor MP Punia, Dr. Indumati Rao, Professor Shefali Gupta, the organizing team, the participants. So dyslexia, in my opinion, is one of the least understood disabilities as far as the learning disabilities domain goes. One reason, in my opinion, is that the most learning disabilities are not visible, and we tend to not take very seriously things which are not visible. Out of sight, out of mind. There are many misconceptions regarding these as well, as there are some prevalent social biases as well. As a society, there is a lack of basic awareness regarding these disabilities, due to which lots of affected people have to suffer. For example, when we talk about technology, there are certain misconceptions or lack of awareness as far as technology for people with disabilities is concerned. We often think that technology is very costly and technology we have to buy. But there are many things which are part of our day-to-day technological products and systems that we use. But we are probably not aware of that, or we have not evaluated them, or we have not looked at them from that perspective that these could be helpful to people with disabilities. And since I come from technological background, I'll try to bring into perspective as to how day-to-day technologies help people with dyslexia. Now, Dr. Shefali Gulati talked about the scene from Tare Zameen Par, and I would like to share my screen because I would also like to show something. So please give me permission for that. Hope my screen is now visible. So this is the scene in Tare Zameen Par actually, and there was a question from the teacher who was teaching the child that why can't you? And the question all the time that echoes in my mind, because during this excellent movie from Amir Khan, the different teachers try to understand as to what is the problem with this child. And they keep asking him, why can't you? Let me show you why. So the teacher could not understand, just like most of us, that Ishan Nandkishore Avasthi was not like any other child. He could not, because he was dyslexic. And to those with dyslexia, it can be very difficult to read characters, as they might appear entirely differently to them compared to the other students. They might appear to be dancing, they might appear to be reversed horizontally or vertically, and so on. And Dr. Shefali Gulati has already talked at length about the characteristics that define dyslexia. But some of these I would like to repeat. For example, problems with linear sequences, problems in reading, sometimes because of visual processing problems, and sometimes because of the change in perception, writing problems, spelling problems, language processing difficulties, pronunciation issues, comprehension issues, problems with short-term memory, literal interpretation of language, poor copying and handwriting, and organizational problems. So mainly, these are some of the problems where I see that technology can play a role in helping the child with dyslexia or a person with dyslexia. There is another misconception regarding dyslexia is that as we grow old, dyslexia should automatically go away. Because many people think that since this is a learning disability, this is related with learning process or maybe childhood, but that is not the case. Dyslexia may stay with the person throughout the life. And it is necessary to address this problem not only among the children, but also among the adults. Also, not just in the education space, but also in the productivity space. So this is a larger problem that we have to address in a more comprehensive manner. How technology can play a role here. So as far as Microsoft technology is concerned, I think we have so many tools, so many features, so many technologies, so many downloadable utilities and services, etc., which can be used to help people with dyslexia to better meet their requirements, to better address the challenge of dyslexia. Some of these are that these technologies can help in creating a friendly computing environment. They can help in reading, writing, pronunciation, auditory understanding, comprehension, learning, including language, math, drawing, and gamification of learning, nonverbal communication, also in productivity and also in creativity. So there are certain things that I would like to share with you. Now, these technologies can help people with dyslexia in dealing with their day-to-day challenges. You can see a lot of such technology if you are a power user of Microsoft products, the basic products, for example, Windows and Office, Microsoft Teams, etc., etc. And many other organizations also, they have developed a lot of assistive technologies. Sometimes that gets ignored. Sometimes maybe we don't, we overlook the importance of these things because these are part of our day-to-day tools and day-to-day applications, etc. But there is value in these, and let's explore these because these might be very helpful. Maybe we don't need to buy a lot of assistive technologies because these might be available in Windows and Office and maybe Google Docs or Android, etc., etc. So this is one video that I would like to showcase, and after that I'll come to the demo part. I'll showcase as to how these technologies actually can help children with dyslexia and people with dyslexia, the adults with dyslexia. But before that, let's have a look at this video. Let's watch it. So here we are talking about one specific product called OneNote from Microsoft. And that OneNote makes it possible for people with dyslexia to read better, to write better, to comprehend better, and to carry out a lot of other activities, for example, working with math, drawing, etc., better in a better way. When we talk about the productivity space or even education space, there are certain, I think, best practices that we should take care of we should keep in mind when we are working with people with dyslexia or dysgraphia, etc. For example, the font should be readable. The font should be such that there are less crowded appearing letters. Font size should be 12 to 14 points or equivalent. Larger inter-letter character spacing. Larger inter-word spacing. Larger line spacing because it improves readability. Avoid underlining and italics, etc. Avoid text in capital letters and small caps. As far as the layout is concerned, we should align the text to left alignment without justification, because when you justify the text, the spaces between the characters and words, they change. Avoid multiple columns like in newspapers or magazines, etc. Lines should not be too long. Ideally, for people with dyslexia, it is considered that if there are 6 or 7 words in a single line, it is more readable to them. It is more friendly to them. Then break up the text between regular section headings and text, etc. Now there are certain good fonts which are considered better for people with dyslexia. For example, there is one font called Open Dyslexic, which has been designed specifically keeping people with dyslexia in mind. Because we know that in dyslexia, generally what happens is that, L and I, they get reversed. Sometimes a child will see L as I. He might also read 1 as I or I as 1, etc., etc. Sometimes they might read P as Q or even D as P, etc., etc. So these kind of transformations and distortions, they do happen as far as the people with dyslexia are concerned when they are reading something. But these are considered to be better fonts as far as if you want to help them read better. So Open Dyslexic, after that Arial, Comic Sans, that is also very good and very friendly font. Vardhana, Century Gothic, Calibri, Open Sans, and Helvetica, etc. Many of these fonts we use in our day-to-day lives, but if we can make our documents more friendly, more readable for people with dyslexia, I think that will be great. But how do we do that? So before that, this is the Open Dyslexic font. It is available for free on internet, and it has been designed keeping in mind the tendency of letters getting reversed, etc., etc., or maybe replaced with another. You will notice that all the characters, all the font characters have a heavy bottoms here. Their bottom part is heavy and the top part is sleek. So a child can understand, a person can understand, even if it is reversed, they can understand that there is something wrong about this character, because it should not be heavy on the top. If it is heavy on the top, maybe it has been reversed. So this is a better font. It has better spacing between characters, and it has been seen, it has been observed in different studies also that these are better fonts for people with dyslexia. Now, how can we make our documents more accessible? Let me show you how we can do that. So for example, if I open any document here in Microsoft Word, I want to make it more accessible to people with dyslexia. What can I do? I can just create a style here, and that can be done if we are talking about a school environment. A teacher can do that. If we are talking about any instructor, then the instructor can do that. Or if the child or the person, they are capable enough, they can do it on their own. What can they do? They just need to go to this place and create a style for them, create a new style. Now in this style, they just are going to define as to how every Microsoft Word document should look to them. They can give it a name. For example, if I can say, I can give it a name of dyslexia friendly style, and I can start working on this. So I'll modify this. I click on modify. Now I go to these different settings. I say that the font should be Open Dyslexic. I have chosen the font. I say the character size should be maybe 20. Then there is line space. So I define line space here, that it should be larger. Then there is paragraph space. So I say that paragraph space should be more. Then I go to format, and I can also define certain other things. For example, in advanced, I say that character spacing should be more. It should be expanded. etc., etc. So there could be many different customizations that can be done, but in the interest of time, I'll not repeat that. But then I'll save it. I say okay, and then whichever document I open in my computer, I'll just select the text and I click here on the style. And now this entire text will get transformed. So any settings that I have customized my font with, they will be applied here. Other than that, also I can go to view, I can use the focus mode here. I can also, I can also make the background black, for example. I can say page color should be black. I can go to focus mode in Microsoft Word. I can click on this one. And now you can see that all this is black. I can also change the color, etc. Color of the font, it can be white. So all of these things I can do, and this becomes, more friendly to person with dyslexia. But what if technology can do that for me on its own? What if I don't need to do anything, any of these kind of things, and Microsoft Word can do this for me? So that is possible. We just need to go to view in Microsoft Word, click on immersive reader and see what happens. The entire text automatically gets transformed. Now I can also edit this text because there are certain, it can also be converted into syllables so that pronunciation becomes better for the children. I can add the spacing part here. I can, use some other settings also. So this is how we can make accessible document for them. I can also increase the font size and everything at once, and then automatically it can be applied every time. Now let me open another application about which the children were talking, and that is called OneNote. So this is OneNote. What OneNote does, if we click on any text here or any file here in OneNote, we can bring any text here and we can just copy paste into OneNote any text. It could be in, at least in English. And we will also talk about the local languages because Dr. Rao had talked about the need to support local languages, and some work has been done there also. So I would like to share with you what has been done. So for example, if I go to this particular file, this is a story of Gemma. And a child with dyslexia, he or she, they find it difficult to read this text. They find it difficult to understand as to what it is, etc., etc. They find it difficult to pronounce these words. How can technology help them? So what I do, I open this page and I just go to view, and here you will see the immersive reader, the same reader that was there in Microsoft Word. I'm showing you that in OneNote. So I click here, and this entire page will now get transformed. The entire desktop experience will now get transformed. You can see that the font size is large. There is more spacing between words. There is more spacing between characters, and the background is automatically black, etc., etc. Now, if I don't know how to pronounce it, or I want to further customize this according to my needs, like if I find that this is still not readable for me, I can click on this one. This is very simple interface here, just 3 buttons. So even a child with dyslexia can work with this. And this is OneNote, which is free. It can be downloaded on Windows for free. Just go to Microsoft Store, just search on a search engine, go to Microsoft Store and download OneNote. And you will find all of these capabilities over there. Let me show you what all is there. If I click on this single icon, this is to customize this text. I can increase the font size, the text size, or decrease it. It becomes even better for me as per my requirement. I can increase the spacing here. I just need to click here and the spacing is increased. I can also use any font that works better for me. I can change the background color. If any particular color is better for me, I can change it. And I can also do many other things. For example, if I'm unable to pronounce these words, I just need to click here on play button and this will be read out to me. And I can then match my own pronunciation with this, the computer pronunciation. Let's see how. Now the speed might be more. We can customize the speed. We can say that the speed should be slow. Now it will speak in slow speed. I can say that I want male, male's voice to be available here. I can just customize according to that. Let me click again. If I want Indian languages or Indian voices, I can use that also, because we have Microsoft Hemant and Microsoft Kalpana, two different Indian voices also, which can be used here. So this is for pronunciation. Number one, for reading, you can see that it is better readable now. And this is ordinary text. It could be any text, but it is better readable now. Number two, in pronunciation, it is helping me. Thirdly, what about understanding this language? Can it help me that with that also? What about comprehension? Can it help me there also? So how can I understand as to what 5 mean, or what minutes mean, or what is away? What does away mean? Maybe I don't know. I'm a person with dyslexia. So this tool actually helps us understand this better, and even in a very child-friendly way. Let me show you how. What is 5? I just need to click here and it tells me 5. It will also read it out to me and it will translate that into Hindi. So the local language come into picture here. It is 5. It is 5 in Hindi. If I click on this one, it will also speak out that to me. So this is 5. What is minute? Now see, these are minutes. It has also been described pictorially to me now. What is away? If I click on this word, this is the concept of away. This is what away means. Then what is jungle? This is jungle. What is hut? This is hut, etc., etc. So what are parents? These are parents. All the concepts, I mean, whatever concepts which are there in our database, they are available, and you can use any text, any text taken from anywhere. It could be a classroom text, anything, and these capabilities will automatically be applied to that text. Now, what about language learning? Can it help me with the learning of English language? Let me show you how. And it does, because it can, number one, as far as the pronunciation is concerned, it can also divide these letters into syllables. It can add these dots here. So now I can read it better, because parents is to be read like this, parents, because we know that the dyslexic children, they might find it difficult to read it properly. For example, doctor word is pronounced by somebody like doctor, sometimes by somebody doct, or etc., etc. But when these syllables are added here, I can read it properly. So that is one automatic automation that comes to help the child with dyslexia. Secondly, it can also identify certain English language grammar related objects, etc. For example, if I click on nouns, it will identify all the nouns in this text. See, so if I'm learning English language, it can help me with that. One moment, my mouse is giving me trouble. Anyway, so these are all the nouns. Now I can identify verbs here. These are verbs, adjectives, and then adverbs, etc., etc. So it can help me in learning of English language. I can better understand. If I highlight nouns, maybe I can make better sense of the language. That is number two. Number three, if I come to this place, and if I don't understand this, maybe I am a Hindi user or some other language user, I can even translate this document by word. A single word can be translated, or the entire document can also be translated. So let me show you how. If I click on this translation, the document is getting translated. So this has been translated. ये रोमांचक अप्रत्याशित और गहरा गैर जिम्मेदाराना था, ये विशेष योजना मिलों की मदद पर टिकी थी, etc., etc. So this document has been translated. Another thing is, sometimes we find it difficult to focus on the screen, but now we can click on any of these buttons. For example, this one. Now you can see that only 5 lines are visible on the screen, so I can focus better. If I click on this one, only 3. If I click on this one, a single line visible. So now I can even better focus on this. So some of the features of OneNote. Now, what about learning other things? What about mathematics, for example? Dr. Gulati had talked about dyscalculia. Let me show you how this technology can, to some extent, help children with dyscalculia. I go to maybe any any document here, blank document. I have taken a blank document here. and I have this stylus in my hand, stylus. I go to draw and I write anything, any mathematical equation or something. For example, if I say that 5 plus 10, the 0 is not properly written, so let me do it again. Since I'm using a laptop screen, so sometimes the drawing might be not so perfect. Anyway, so this is a question, for example. So how can technology help me here? Can I use the mathematical capabilities of OneNote? So what I do, I just select this by using the selection tool here or my mouse also. So I have selected that and I click on ink to math. This is math. I click on math. So it has already identified that. I don't know how to solve it. So I click on this one, select an option. I say evaluate this. The answer is here. But now, the logic is that, it should not actually help the children like this. It should actually explain to them as to how this was solved. So for that purpose, I just need to click here, show steps. And then if there are any steps, then it will tell me. Let me show you another example, and then that will make it even more, it will clear that concept even in a better way. So for example, I have an equation x plus 2x equals 15. So for example, this is an equation and I just need to select once again this text. I have selected that, click on math. So you can see it has been identified. I say that evaluate this or solve for x. So it has been solved for me. I say show me steps also. I click on this one and now it has shown all the steps which are involved. So they enhance the understanding of mathematics among children with dyscalculia, even dysgraphia, other kind of things as well. So this is the mathematical connection, and there are a lot of commands in this which are not very difficult for a child to master. And in fact, for a teacher, these are very, very simple. They can also use these. For example, these are some of the commands. You can use all of these, and there are hundreds of other commands because these are only selective ones. Let me come to drawing and coloring. If the child has some problem, they just need to, the teacher can just include or import any picture here. They can use this coloring mechanism and now they can start, this activity, whatever. So this brings both the worlds together, physical and digital. Another example, let me come to, for example, the typing part. I may just use this stylus and I can start writing something. I don't know because the kind of spelling, the kind of handwriting I have used, I don't know whether the AI will identify this or not, but let's see. So I just select it and ink to text and it has been able to select that. So the child can experiment with the handwriting, whether what he has written or she has written is right or not, whether the spelling is right or not. There are many, many such tools. And let me give you, uh, uh, a feel of one more, and then I'll end my presentation. So what is that? One more, that is drawing. Sometimes the children might find it difficult to draw different shapes. How can technology help me? For example, my hands are, they are shivering or I'm unable to properly draw like this. So this is how I draw. Maybe, this is, I want to draw a hut, but I'm not able to do that. Can technology help me? Can it boost my confidence as a child with disability, child with dyslexia or some other disability? Let me show you how, because it can. So what I do, I just click on ink to shape. Now, whatever I do, technology comes into picture and it will help me draw that particular shape. So this is my circle, for example. See, I want to draw a hut and I'm unable, but this will help me. I can use all of these things. Technology is there to help me in my learning process, in my understanding process, etc., etc. One more thing, when we work with different spellings, for example, and before that, couple of things I would like to share with you also, because the Indian languages are very important. And now we are working with Indian languages in accessibility space. Uh, comprehensively. Actually, a lot of work is going on. For example, this is a document in Hindi. Can technology help me understand this? Can technology read it out to me at least? So yes, that can be done. If I go to view and one moment. In Word, if I go to view and if I click on immersive reader here, this is immersive reader. There is read aloud, which works in English and other languages as well. Let's see what about Hindi. So this is your day-to-day, used technology. This is Microsoft Word, and these things are part of Word itself. What about some other languages? Let me give you another example. You know that in Windows there is a tool called Narrator. Let me start that, and that is also used extensively by people with visual disability. How that works, let me show you. I start Narrator, and this is Tamil text. So can my computer read out the Tamil text to me? Let's see. So right now, I think there is some issue, but it should be able to read that. I have just added the Tamil language to my computer, and I have not restarted that. So maybe because of that, it is not right now reading that out, but it does that in Tamil also. Let me show you another example that relates with Tamil language, so that you know that I'm just. Hey Kotana, translate into Tamil. India is a great country. So this I shown only because I just wanted to give you, I wanted to assure you that these things work with Tamil as well. I have not restarted my computer after I activated Tamil, my computer. So that's why I could not show that, but I shown that in some other particular, uh, application. All this is possible. And the final thing is, how can we help these children, develop vocabulary and, even spellings, how to work better with the spellings, etc. Now there is a tool called Dictate, which is part of Microsoft Office. It can be found in PowerPoint, in Office, Word, etc. It is also there in OneNote, and we can use it extensively. So this is Dictate button, which is part of Home button, Home tab in Microsoft Word. I click here. I choose my language, and then I start speaking. Hello, everybody. Dyslexia is a very big problem these days, but technology can help us in dealing with the challenge of dyslexia. So you can see that not only it has transcribed, but it has also transcribed that without any spelling errors. And it has also automatically added these punctuation marks. So child with dyslexia, he can understand if he speaks, whether he's speaking properly or not, if it is getting, transcribed better in a proper way or not. They can learn from this. If I want to use that in Hindi, other Indian languages, let me show in Hindi. नमस्कार, आप सबसे मिलकर मुझे बड़ा अच्छा रहा. असल में ये लगा होना चाहिए था. अच्छा रहा नहीं, अच्छा लगा. So you can see the same thing that happens in Hindi as well. It is able to identify the places where it should put the punctuation marks, etc., etc. So I think that is for me during this particular presentation and demo. Thank you so much for this opportunity to showcase the technological work that has been done in this space by Microsoft.
Video. So thank you very much. In fact, we've been really enlightened by the technology-assisted measures which Microsoft has taken to make life comfortable for dyslexics and other learning disability affected people. And I'm sure the efforts will bring in further results and get the results will get further refined, sir, to make their lives much easier